Any questions? All right. Now, back to, you see on the dash here that light flashing?
Just one question on the cooling system, Rolf.
Yes.
How much coolant you put in?
It takes about 2 quarts.
2 quarts.
Not quite 2 quarts.
2 quarts of coolant?
No.
2
And
quarts.
the coolant,
Itself.
I'm talking about antifreeze. I'm talking, when I say coolant, this is plain water. Whatever you use, antifreeze, is that the name for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, you live in this area, use about that much.
On a gallon.
Yeah, on a
Okay.
gallon. That's, some people use 50-50, but water seems to cool better than if you have more antifreeze in it. It cools very little percentage, but it does cool less than if you have water in it. Water is the best coolant. So, but the reason they put that in, so stuff doesn't corrode inside the cooling system, the hoses and so on. That's the reason they most people put that coolant in it.
So if you had to kind of guess on a percentage, because I usually mix the two and then, so
You
it'd
can
be like,
mix just whatever.
be like 20-80, 30-70?
20 to 1.
Oh, 21.
So it
595.
doesn't really take, you kind of,
Tablespoon.
no, not that. Use, I would say, on 2 quarts, I would use a quarter of a quart,
Oh, okay,
quarter of it, put coolant in it.
okay.
And then mix it up, put it in, or you can put it in separate too, it mixes itself up. Okay, any other questions on the cooling? Like I said, absolutely no problem. The only thing is, there is a switch here. That switch on top here, you see this switch, if you want to come over here, that is the coolant fan switch. That is the one who regulates the temperature, it regulates the cooling fan, it also gives it a signal to the MIU unit, so the unit knows how rich, lean, or in between to adjust the fuel mixture
For warm-up.
for warm-up, correct. So that is all regulated in that switch.
So just to recap, to drain, just disconnect one of the water hoses here, drain it underneath,
Yes,
and then to refill from the top.
yes,
So
that's
it's
it,
the cold level.
that's
And
it,
then turn it on, let it run,
that's it,
bleed it.
yes.
Okay.
You just don't worry about the bleeding. Sometimes you don't know, but check it, open it up and see if there's what I normally do too is on the bleeder screw, I open the bleeder screw up and then fill it up, and sometimes it pushes all the air out with it. Done. Like I said, it's not sensitive enough to, it's not very sensitive system, so that's what makes it. So any more question on the cooling system? Okay. All right, let's sit down. And,
Oh, you mentioned the light flashing.
okay. On the light, the LED light on the dash. If you ever watch that light and your scooter won't start or something is not right, wrong, or in between, it will give you different intervals of flashes. Okay? On the interval of the flashes, you can look it up in your manual, which you now got, and it will explain to you what it is. Okay? That is important. There is maybe a short and a long and then a short again, or all these different flashes by intervals will explain to you what the problem is. So you get at least, it would guide you in the right direction. That's what it is all about.
So question, so it's similar for those that don't have the diagnostic tool, you can kind of use it to almost help determine what code?
It will flash a code
Right,
which you can look up.
right, but I'm saying it's similar to if you don't have the diagnostic, you can use the flashes to help.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That is correct. So that is something you get for free from Piaggio.
Awesome, you saved me $200.
Not free, but whatever.
Just watch the flash.
Is that the same thing where it will store the last several things, or it's just flashing what's going on right now?
Yes,
Just right now?
right now the flash is only, once you turn the key on, then it will do that.
Okay.
So if it flashes like this in certain intervals, that will automatically turn off after 24 hours.
Okay.
24 hours before it turns on. You were asking me about you have a burned out
Yeah.
light. Just stop by someday. I put a new light bulb in it because it's not that easy. We got to take the whole headset, and we got to take the speedo out.
Just to change a light bulb.
You have to do that to change the battery on the clock too, don't you?
The same thing is, good saying. If your clock doesn't work, the clock has nothing to do with the electrical system. It has its own batteries.
My
Oh,
clock works fine.
Yeah, but you have to dig apart everything to get to it, I think.
Oh, that is major.
Really?
Yeah.
That freaking sucks, dude.
So forget about the clock.
Get a little stick.
I mean, like, yeah.
It's not-
Stick-on clock.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's that is what is involved in it.
Is that true on the GTV as well? I don't think so. I thought it was that,
Yeah, all of it.
it is? One's battery lasts.
What dumb design.
I know, right?
9 years.
They make it to where you kind of grow used to it, and then when you don't see it, you're like,
Okay, everybody happy with the lights? Everybody understands? Like you can look it up in the manual and it will show you, it will give you an idea and it says what it is. Okay. I see MIU unit, Borelli Ignition System computer. This, in order to make you feel better, I got one here to give you an idea so you know what it looks like inside. That's all it looks like inside.
and what is
That's
that?
what it is.
ECU.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
the unit, the major plug-in is in here, in the side. It has, I think, 21 or 22 pins, I think it has. I should know, but. So anyway, what the story is, if you ever have one and it doesn't start for any reason, and you can look at this code here and maybe get an idea what it is. Maybe it says connection for something. But there are 21 pins in it. There is one major plug on here. Pull that plug off. There is one screw you have to loosen up in order to get the plug out. And look at the plug. The plug is just like any light plug. It has metal guides in it. Make sure you can see all the guides. I printed out in your booklet I gave you. And there is one page. Bring that page up. There's one page that shows the pins. There it is. it shows the pins from the plug. The reason I printed it out is because I want you to know, when you look at the plug, at least, first of all, what does this particular pin operate? Because you can go there by the number. And at least you have something to go by. If something doesn't work, see if that is related to that pin. Because what I've seen is that these pins from the connector, no, they don't
Back out?
break. It's just when they get pushed on, sometimes that metal part, what is in
Backs
the
out a bit.
in the unit itself is okay, but it's the one in the connector which pushes back. I seen it, and I spent hours and hours trying to figure out
So-
what was what.
So just to be clear, inside the cable, there's the plug, it's got pins that go into a female socket,
Correct.
and and sometimes they can get pushed back into the plug. So you gotta reach in with some, just special
You got
tools,
to,
pull it out and just gently push it back in.
unfortunately, I'm just mentioning it, it's not a common thing, but at least you know about it. You know about what does it operate, what these pins operate.
Now, this is for the GT250, is it similar or?
GT250, GTS, GTV.
Okay. So it would be something different, I've got,
LX does not have this setup, no.
so I've got a GT200, it would be a different scheme for me.
It doesn't have it.
Oh, it doesn't have it,
It doesn't have GT200, doesn't have it.
okay.
GT200 is carbureted. This is fuel injected
Fuel injected
models
only,
only.
okay.
So I had to have my
Gotcha.
ECU unit replaced one time, they replaced the stator, they couldn't figure out what the problem is. We should have looked here to see if all the pins were where they should have been.
What kind of bike?
GTS,
Yeah,
okay. Okay. I know, this is totally worth coming.
it's, I know. It's
After the fact,
unfortunate.
yes. $1,000 in repairs later, yeah.
Yeah, I know, it goes quick at the dealership. So, that is the other thing, while you have the MIU unit in your hand, there is absolutely no adjustment.
Okay.
There is, unfortunately, people know about it and look about it. Right here, there is for the throttle, there is a little set screw, but that set screw is not to adjust your idle speed. That set screw is there to set the TPS angle of the butterfly. That is what it is for.
Okay.
So you can, I've seen people screw with this, man, try to get that back to life is next to impossible.
Whoa.
So there is no adjustment, just realize it, there's nothing you can
Don't
do.
go there.
Yep.
And the only thing I can recheck it or reset it or what is resettable is from the MIU unit itself, I can reset it with my diagnostic system. I can set the called for TPS throttle position angle. I can make the computer, I can reset it. But once somebody screws with this here, man, it is, you have to be awful lucky to get it back. And the TPS angle is 3.7. Write that number down. TPS throttle position angle. But the only way you can measure is by one of the diagnostics. My dear soul, if you take it into a diagnostic, if the guy hangs it up, make sure he checks the TPS angle before he checks anything else. Because that's one of the first things I check in, because it has so much to do with if the scooter runs right or doesn't run right or doesn't idle or coughs or whatever. So make sure that angle. The other thing I want you to know is too, a lot of times, especially if you get a lot of more miles on these, there's one part of the unit which once in a while you got to take it off, and there is a little, on the back part here, there is a little hole, you see. Go there, open it up, and spray some carburetor cleaner in it. What it is called the stepper motor. The stepper motor is what they used to call, in normal days, the idle adjustment. There is no adjustment because that is all done by the unit itself, by temperature. That gets the temperature switch, sends a signal to the unit and regulates the idle speed by temperature. So, but once you have one of these out, make sure you clean that up, because a lot of times when people have idle problems with more miles on, there is some, fuel residue on it. Just clean it away and everything works like new again. It's like having a plugged up idle jet, same thing. So, but the stepper motor is your automatic choke. It is controlled by the temperature switch. The temperature switch also controls the fuel, the injector timing. So it all kind of works out of here. So there's no adjustment, so either it works or it doesn't. That's it. Unfortunately, this is expensive, but fortunately, we don't have no major problems.
And that's what I was gonna ask, is the reliability on that just as good as like the thermostat, outside of if it's bent pins, probably?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so pretty reliable.
We don't have, the reliability on these is pretty good.
Okay.
The reason people replace them is by losing keys, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once programmed, done.
Now we know.
That chip belongs to this is it.
Okay.
They are, once this is set, done. The same with the immobilizer on the LX, same thing. Once it's programmed, it's done. There is no, unfortunately, no other way to go, so. Any
Circuit board.
questions? But at least you get an idea what it looks like inside.
Exactly.
So I still try to find out which makes the RPM cut out. At 9,000 RPM, I like to find out which chip that is so I can rip it out. So I can beat Rich.
Good luck with that, yeah.
So I can beat Rich and Jess. But we haven't gotten to that point yet.
I know which chip it
There
is.
is.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure y'all gonna find out. You guys will find
It's
out.
software.
Don't tell.
It's a plan.
It's the microcontroller.
It's a plan. Yeah.
On this, yes.
Does anybody
Well,
have it yet?
what you want?
Let's change the oil before the.
Okay, let's let's get going. We need to run the compressor to get it up. Unfortunately.
Where's your
We need some air. Okay, everybody happy? At least you've seen what it looks like inside, so you got an idea.
Where is it? Where is it, Rob?
Yeah, you can, whatever you can set up.
We're just gonna start to drain the oil out, and change the filters, put that back together. So we're gonna be working on the other side for a couple of hours. The compressor is slow, I'll keep.
It clamped on, and it clamped over the footboard, so it was stable, and then you could just rotate the scooter like a man. I can't find it here. I didn't bother, they had it over there for €350, I should have bought it, but I was like,
Especially since you
it's something, but see, I assumed it was right there, I was like, I'll find it. I don't need to spend $350, and now I can't find it. But when I go back over there, I'm gonna buy one and have one of my friends that are still in.
Yeah, change colors before, yeah.
Yeah, I wanna come around here.
That's the key one before. Keep draining the oil. Yeah, I was gonna say you probably can't, but let's see that.
Probably lots and lots and lots of
Just
times.
got a couple little red wagons. No, I do like, I was admiring it.
Yeah, I like this. Big strap on the bottom, we're like 2 levels for your tools.
No, yours is a short range.
And it actually makes more sense than a regular tool because it's,
We like your tool cart here.
yeah, we're loving your tool.
Yeah.
There's a million other people. They are available,
They are.
They're made out
but
of, they're made out
it's
of
just a
unobtainium.
bunch.
What? They're made out of unobtainium? Yeah. You know, I was thinking I'd take a little red wagon and I just add another 2 levels.
Oh, there you go. I just have bad news for them, that little red wagons are now like plastic and you can't get a good.
No, I've got one of the old ones. I mean,
Okay.
it was a little rusty, but I repainted it. And
So these were imported from Germany, and they're very, very sought after.
This is
yeah,
the one
I
you
would
bought,
say
right?
so.
This is the one I bought, yeah. I bought a newer model, but it's almost exactly like that.
What is the maker on it?
It has it.
Oh, it is,
Yeah,
okay,
has it.
has it.
Hasn't.
So you can import them.
Original,
I've got a friend in Europe, I could work.
He
it.
has it, for the rest of us
Oh, is there anything?
unobtainium.
Okay.
Unobtainium.
Yeah.
they use
My
them.
husband, it's all over.
Okay,
Titanium, it's just,
when you get the
Pricey.
oil drain plug out, make sure you take the filter out.
Right.
Make sure you clean the filter out if it looks dirty or anything. Use some carburetor cleaner spray on it or whatever.
Do you then blow it off?
Make
with,
sure it doesn't have any metal flakes in it. If it does have any metal flakes in it, then you know you got a bad crankshaft or
Sell
something
the scooter.
internal, you know,
Yeah,
so.
the first time you do your 600 mile, there's gonna be some crap in that little filter.
Because,
Just the stuff that's residual in the motor. But after that, there should be very, very little. You'll
Yeah.
find it tucked down around the bottom where the handle is, just a little tiny bit. There's
Somewhere.
always gonna be something, but if you see chunks, you have a problem.
the good part is, this filter goes to the inlet where the oil pump picks up the oil for the whole lubrication system. So big pieces are not gonna go through that, but real minor stuff depends on, so, but once you take it out, take a look at it, make sure there's no metal
And no
flakes on
tears.
it, and then, so. Let it drain out also to get the oil filter off. That's what I use.
No, you were perfect. Go back where you were.
That is the easy way of doing it.
Yeah.
Use a pair of water pump tires. It makes it easier not have the center stand in it. But, not everybody has a hoist, so that makes it a little difficult, because once you drain it, it's gonna run over the center stand. But
Yes.
what you do is you take a little old cookie can and cut out a little metal on it and hold it there and let it drain over that. That way you don't have it,
You make your own siphon.
correct.
Right, don't gunk up.
So that's the $18 part.
So make sure when you take the filter off, that O-ring is on.
I ended up getting a shock.
Because I seen that stay on there, people put a new filter on and then start it up on oil heavy. I always put my finger in the oil, bottom of the oil pan and kind of push. There's always something, still some old oil in there. Make sure you get as much out as you can.
If you notice, this plug has a little O-ring in it.
Yes.
Oftentimes that O-ring will stay on the case
Oh, okay.
when you pull this out. And the only problem with that is if it drops into the oil, you gotta fish it out. It's no big deal. But as it's draining, I'll just reach up and just grab it, pull it out. But it's something you want to keep track of.
Make sure that you clean the area when you have the oil out in it.
And never strip this, putting it back in. Never, ever strip it. Put it back in gently with your fingers. There's only one tap on the planet to recut those threads.
And I have it.
And you have
Well,
it.
you're my best friend now.
The reason for it happened to a guy in San Francisco.
Oh, no.
It's either how you gonna fix it. What we have a friend which is a machinist which made this tool for us. And he just not just made that tool, he also made other tools. As we go along, we will explain to what else he made. So
Is he still in the business?
that he's still in business, but you got to know, in order to get something, you got to know the guy.
We gotta go through you, huh?
You cannot afford it.
Oh,
You have to friend it.
Of course.
So,
I make
Just
really
like
good
I'm finding out
brownies.
here, meeting you guys.
well, he had so much pull, I might as well say it. He blew, unfortunately, he had a GTS on the motor. We still don't know why it blew up. I mean, destroyed. So I went to my boss at Piaggio and says, listen, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
12,000 miles and the motor blows up. He says, no problem, we give him a new motor. So I put a new motor in the car, took it home, gave it to Gary. Says, here's your new motor. What? Yeah, here's your new motor.
He's owed you ever
No
since.
big deal.
You looking for busted stuff?
So, oil change. Draining, we're gonna install that new tool. This is gonna be gonna be good. Make sure this is in right, yes. God, a piece of chrome on my scooter sucks.
But it's way down where no one will
I
see
should have
easily.
painted it red or something, or black.
Well, that's your next oil change.
Expand.
What?
Oh, no, I was looking at your roof. Never mind.
You see how the new filter works.
See, you don't have to torque that well? The oil filter? It's calibrated elbow.
Just put it,
Hand tight.
yeah,
That's, okay,
put it on snug, that's it.
okay.
There is a torque spec probably for it,
Yeah, but
which
who,
I don't know.
yeah, no.
There's certain things,
Just,
you know, how many people check the torque with it when they take a wheel.
right, right. You have the right size wrench to torque it correctly if you don't.
You make it, you make it that it
It's
is
crazy.
tight.
Yeah. Besides,
You
check it
know,
for leaks.
that is,
Just don't overtake.
they say, people say, they say 5,000, 6,000 miles with the same oil. I don't believe in that. I'm a goofy guy. I believe in clean oil, never hurt anything. I would suggest, that's my suggestion, 2,500 miles, not more on there.
Really?
That's the way I would do it.
It's cheap
It's
insurance,
a
right?
quart oil.
Right. It's cheap insurance,
That is the clean oil, never hurt anything.
yeah.
So, this scooter got 11,000 miles, 12,000 miles on, that's what my oil looks like. Why? Because I change it every time. I'm goofy, but I change it every thousand. I got nothing else to do.
Well, at least you're not paying the dealer exorbitantly for those changes.
So anyway, I'm just saying that is, I want, since it's only a quart, change it more often, really. So, okay, the next thing is we will take apart the side cover and get into the belt system so you get an idea of what is involved in doing that.
Yeah, then starts the major.
Then
Yeah.
we're talking more major.
Then you need to buy or make a tool.
Where is the filter? Oh, here.
Does that just go straight in, do you have to turn
It
it?
just goes straight in.
There's no turning or locking position at all?
No,
Just
it
hold the
just
place
has
with
an
cover.
O-ring on it and
Okay.
make sure it goes dead center. Go ahead, Rich, rip it apart.
This side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Chester. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's convenient.
The same with the drain screw. How tight you tighten the drain screw, make sure it is tight, that's all. You don't need to buy a toy wrench or something, you know. Take the skirt off.
What size socket do you use for the drain screw?
It's a 20, is it 24?
24?
No,
Yeah.
no, 24.
22, I'm sorry,
22?
22.
Okay.
22. But it is not the easiest to get to, especially on all the LXs. The exhaust pipe is so close there.
Yeah.
I know, it's a bitch, the same with getting the filter off,
It's a-
it's so close that you really gotta be.
It's the only thing annoying about the GTS is, like, because I also have a motorcycle, easy to change the rear tire, not on the GTS.
No,
You gotta pull the exhaust
I
pipe
know.
at the header.
We will.
We'll get there.
It's really annoying.
While Rich is taking the cover,
Yeah, if you wanna come over to the other side,
you're
I'm
gonna come
I'm gonna
on
pull
the
the
other
cover off.
side.
Get that for you. Oh, great, thank you.
And-
I'll let you know what steps on this part of it.
To access this, you have to pull these strips off. You can do it without pulling that strip off, but there's no reason to torture yourself.
No.
There's two fasteners. There's one screw up front, and then there's a nut in back, 10 millimeter. And you can put your hand up here and you can feel it. The screw goes in at a diagonal like this, so you have to screw it out. Once you get the two fasteners out, this part has to come out this way. And then there's a series of rubber discs that hold this together. Pull it out to about that point, and then lightly pull it out. It's got two tabs. Those two tabs go into these two slots. Feed it in. It's a little finicky. These things get tight after a while. Put a little dab of grease on them, and then pop back in. The next thing we want to do is get the air cleaner out of the way. I've got a special screwdriver that I ground up because these are really big Phillips head screws.
Big what? Phillips head?
Yeah. And there's usually 3, but kind of experience says that this front one's not even worth dealing with. Ralphie always removes it. If he ever works on your scooter, that screw will be
Because
missing
that screw is
when it
useless.
comes back. Not that big a deal, but it's a pain in the ass. The newer models have it threaded. The older models have a nut behind it.
The
It's the one-
information, the engine, and
Yeah, you
Certain
gotta play with
things
it. And it's kind of redundant. As long as these two are in and solid. This is a special tool. It's called a magnet. With that magnet, you can save yourself lots of
Hours.
aggravation.
Very cool.
Without that magnet, you're still jiggling around.
I put it right there.
So
no
this is
steps
now
on it.
loose, and the idea is you want to get it up and out of the way. This cover is held on by a series of 8 millimeter nuts and by a nut under here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove those 8 millimeter nuts.
you can do it by hand.
You can do it by hand, but that's what this is. You know, hey, tools are fun.
That's right.
You don't want to take the nuts off under the oil. The bolts out, because they look the same. It all blends together, but those, don't take those out. The two bolts on the very bottom, they have retainers for the brake line.
Oh, boy.
You need to remember that. The rear of the tube also holds the vent line, this vent line for the transmission. So just remember to put it on the back one. And if you don't get that on, it's not gonna be that big a deal.
You got it?
And don't remove the ones around the oil pan.
Don't remove it around the thing. So we'll see how tight Ralphie made this.
Hold it. Okay.
I have the wrong socket, Ralphie.
18 you need.
Yeah.
18 or 19.
It's over there.
Try this. This is a 19.
I got it. I don't know if this is gonna get this off. It may not. It did.
And if I'm on this side of the road, just heave on it?
No,
What's that?
If I'm on this side of the road, just
no,
muscle it off?
no.
No.
Hold
Okay.
it. Hold it.
There's a tool you need in order to retain that. Ralphie's got the, get your Piaggio tool out.
This one is that variator tool.
This is what I made, chunk of steel. It goes in here. You need this definitely when you put it back together
This is
in order to
Piaggio.
torque it. Yeah, pass that around. This is just pieces,
What you
something I
can
made.
do is, to make this tool, go to hardware store, get a U-bolt, space it this far apart, same thing.
Bend it over, yeah. That's a 1.5 inch U-bolt, 5/16 diameter.
And that's the one you said you made?
Just made this. And this one
This
folds
is a
up.
travel model.
That's a travel one, nice and small.
Jess, do you mind if I take a picture?
Yeah,
You guys
here.
don't mind if we
Here,
share
no,
stuff?
go ahead.
Around?
No,
Okay,
Um,
because I want to take a look at it to be able to.
You
And that's what
absolutely
your
have to
U-bolt
have
should
that.
look like. If you take a U-bolt and bend it, it should look like that.
put it up here.
If,
Is this the variator holder?
if you don't have power tools, you need the holder to remove that. That's a tool you're gonna have to have. You're gonna have to have one of these, and you're gonna have to have a variator holder.
We got to make a new
I'll
one.
show you what that looks like in a moment.
Longer,
I'll make one.
same thing,
And
same, no, it's longer pins.
but the spacing between them is.
I think it's a little more. We find the measurements.
So I've removed all the bolts.
Yeah.
I've removed the rear nut. So this is now free. In order for it to come off,
I don't
you have to
need
pull the
one.
dipstick out.
I need one of
What, the travel?
those.
This is jet and dipstick.
The big
Not all that great.
Which one?
The one
Yeah.
So normally I would have this stand down. You want to stand up, change the oil. You want to stand down, do this job. It should just pop straight out, and then it's a little bit of a, Ralphie, could you hold the stand down on the other side?
that we need
Yeah, it has to
to
be.
do.
I don't want to scratch it, it's pretty to it.
Yeah, I don't need
Okay.
stainless, yeah. I can wipe it out.
And you can see it has to go up a little
Okay,
bit.
hold
Looks
it.
pretty. No, it don't look pretty.
Hold it,
What?
hold it. Do it the easy way.
Am I gonna scratch your stuff up?
Let me get the, that's it.
Right, but how do you get it to be, what is that word I can think of? Symmetrical.
Oh, where you can kickstand.
Maybe I'm not.
Okay, that's all yours.
Here, jack it up a little more. One more.
Oh, push it that way, okay.
Those things just
Alright, I understand this part. Where do you get these?
Okay,
Side business, you know.
This doesn't look like an off-the-shelf part.
good, thank you. Now,
So just before we move on, so where did you get this part?
Those.
These?
what?
Parts that,
Those little parts
Hold down.
came from a McMaster
McMaster.
car.
Oh,
McMaster.com has every little piece of hardware you could ever want in your
Uh-huh.
lifetime.
Those are obscenely expensive.
Yeah. And, well, those, this one is made of stainless steel, it doesn't need to be made of stainless steel.
Okay.
But I
Sorry
have a
for the
stainless
flush.
fetish, so I made the expensive version and not the cheap version.
Yeah, so this is your travel one, right?
Yes.
Lightweight.
Except I made it and I gave it to
Okay.
Rich, so now I don't have one.
You gotta get another one.
I have to
On
pick it
the
up.
whole
It's
belt,
really
sit-
sweet too, Jeff.
on the whole belt situation,
Rich, you better keep track of this.
the whole
Find
belt,
its way into my bag.
the whole
Yeah.
belt
Lock it up.
situation. First of all, the rear nut he took off to get the cover off,
Yeah.
it's torqued. Has a specific torque reading on when you reinstall it,
Right.
okay? The nut here, you see for the, this is the part they call the variator, front pulley of the whole system. Before we go any further, I want everybody to stand for, I need about 2 minutes to explain to everybody how the system works. That way you understand it a little bit, okay?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Let's go ahead and take it apart.
Okay.
If I don't, do I need to have a, what do they call it, yeah, a torque wrench to carry with
You
me?
need a torque wrench
Yeah.
to
To reassemble?
to torque the things down, yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
But you can go to a place called Harbor
Harbor Freight. Uh-huh.
Cheaptools.com.
Cheap. Okay, everybody's attention.